Mirage. Map number 2 here in our first best of 3 of the day. And the second elimination match of the day, it's Orbit versus Epsilon. And this pick was actually was Orbit going into Mirage. After a loss as well.
Yeah, after a loss as well. I wonder for myself, because we just saw Orbit win Dust 2, but it was, I guess you could call it a barn burner. It was super close, a lot of exciting, close, clutch round. The problem was that it wasn't like one player just going like ham individually. It was like 2 players making mistakes and then ultimately it coming down to a 1v1 or everybody dying or the bomb, you know, barely getting defused, something like that. And a map won because of it. But now we move into Mirage, a map that both teams play somewhat. It's not maybe as decisive as I thought that Dust 2 would be, in the sense that I thought Orbit would have a much better opportunity to win there, but couldn't pull it off. And the one thing they have going for them, however, is that it is their map pick. So even though I think they were happy to see Dust 2 and probably very upset that they lost, they might be happy about the fact that they get to play their map now and have the opportunity to bring it to a third.
Yeah, so Mirage here. Again, the pick of Orbit, the map I was expecting that, you know, after Dust 2, they'd have momentum and just be able to take this as well, despite both teams playing it, you know, pretty much in an even amount. But now everything has been turned on its head as Epsilon took Dust 2 and into this pistol round. They are starting off somewhat slowly. You can see the Rez has a kit, and actually Zelos has already been taken down. It's Spy Leader to find the opening kill here for Orbit. As they gear up for this A-split, Punisher over in B. Look how much space he's taken up in B, pushing almost all the way into the market. Finally, Draken will take him down. Freddy B stuck in Sandwich with nowhere to go, but he just re-peeks. He finds 2, making a third now as he takes out Spy Leader. Palace going for 4, and it's Freddy B doing everything by himself.
That's what I'm talking about. That was a sweet 4K. Nice. 4 headshots. All from Sandwich, a spot that gets compromised as soon as somebody sees you in it. You don't have much angles to work with, right? Like you can't have you can't sit in a deep, very deep spot and have someone post it on you and expect to be able to and expect to be able to work it. Instead, you basically have to peek as short as he's doing right now, make do with what you have, and we saw that shooting just 2 or 3 times per player and taking all their heads off. Wow, insane 4K from Freddy.
And there was a point where there were actually 2 people challenging him, and he just gets those quick headshots and converts that round for Epsilon. It looked like it was going Orbit's way for the big individual play. Now Draken missing a scout shot out in middle. It's Spy Leader with the CZ that will find him. So right away, Orbit, as you might expect, not having planted the bomb, going for this force-up round on their T side and coming away with the first kill. Victor's moved up the catwalk. Zelos with that MP7, fairly mobile, will take down 1, and it's Rez back of the site using all of the bullets in that FAMAS. So he pulls out the P2K, will get 1 more, and then Zelos again with the MP7 to find Punisher. So it's Spy Leader left all alone, lurking around over here in jungle with the CZ.
Yep, and that's the 3rd pistol round in a row won by Epsilon. We come to the 2nd round, they haven't gotten eco'd as well. That's a big deal for them. And yeah, they clean that up. Keep 4 alive. That's really good for their economy. You know, it's something that you stress and repeat, but for good reason, because it bleeds over into the following rounds. When they lose their rifle, they are able to buy again, and it's all because of the rounds that they managed to keep more than 3 people alive versus saving players.
Yeah, so now Epsilon really get to earn a bit of a free round as Orbit just on some P250s and Glocks, no armor on anyone. And will they be making a bit of a play here on this round? It looks like they've initially split up for mid and underpass, so going to just try to use all 5 to take some mid control, but Epsilon are pretty much content to give that up. And are just holding onto the sites, replaying at A. 2 at B. Draken taking the first contact. He will bring down Spy Leader. Not many bullets left, but he is good for the 2nd kill. Rez with the FAMAS, and now Zelos with an MP7. Oh, trying to be a hard target to hit, jumping and spinning around in the air, but Punisher finally gets him. So Zelos is the 1 death of the round, and a quick 3-0 for Epsilon. Yeah,
and we have the high fives coming out because they know that here's where the action is going to happen. Here's where we see if the rifle round will actually pay off. And again, the pistol rounds have been haunting them. That's also been a big problem. Even in the first half when Orbit were able to come back off of the 0-4 start, it was, you know, the fact that Epsilon caught 5 rounds in total in that half, or the fact that they got 5 rounds in total in that half was a result of that. So.
And this could be a big round. Orbit, of course, have the advantage of just having 5 AKs. Of course, it's not a lot of utility to work with either, and it's Epsilon who have full utility but are still trying to hold on to some of those lesser weapons like the FAMAS, like the MP9. So a lot lot of implications on this round as we've got NKL lurking around. Might be finding 3 players in the back, but no, it's Rez who does check underpass. Good presence of mind here in this situation to look for that lurk, and that's the first kill of the round for them. Freddie B, he's the one with the M4. He brings down Victor. And Spy Leader waiting on one more flank. Finally kills 1 and actually make it 2, so into a 3-on-3, but Punisher's gonna go down to the back of Tetris. And advantage for Epsilon, but they still have to retake onto the site right now. Spy Leader will fall long range, MP9. And it's the MP9 that in the end gets it done, finds the multi-kill, but they don't have the kit defusing the bomb, but they should have the time.
Yeah, it's actually a really close defuse here, and they do manage to pull it off, so big win from Epsilon, great retake. They had the 4v3 advantage, and they played it all the way through into the 2v1, so overall, very nice round to look back on. It's also given them the ability to get the quick 5-0, which is the perfect route to a successful half on CT side of any map. And that's it. Strong start overall. They've got to be feeling pretty good. They just won their map pick after a very close map and now have a strong lead to kind of continue their presence as the dominant team throughout each map.
And Orbit, we're actually able to buy up still quite a bit. NKL will have to work with the Galil and its bubble getting pushed. Some CT aggression there, and they work together to get it done. But Zelos keeps moving forward, and that time he was alone, so immediately call it a delayed trade. We've got a 4-on-4.
Yeah, I don't think he expected to see, or I think when he killed someone in apps, he expected that either someone's going to be really close, right? Or that they have... Or
it's clear.
Yeah, or it's clear, exactly.
And now Doppelin aggressive at middle here. Epsilon playing very clearly here, very confidently, just pushing on everything. But again, maybe Doppelin sticks around for a little bit too long. He's gone down after his first kill, could have fallen back and just had man advantage.
Yeah, he definitely should have fallen back, like, no doubt about it. He got that opening frag off of a nice flash and then decided to flash for himself and re-aggress when he knew there was at least one more person there. And you know that if a team is postured for mid-control, they have almost all of the, like, they have the biggest group of players that they have posted up mid. So he was ideally looking at 3 people, right? And yeah, that was a bit of an error. I mean, he could have had 4v3 and put his teammates in a much better position, but now they have the op at B. They have one on Cat posted up. That's Draken actually watch connector cross, so this helps Freddie B out in his position to just watch a ramp or focus his attention on one spot.
There actually is quite a bit of utility still left up on the 3 players here for Orbit. This angle that Freddie B, it's a bit of an off angle, but it's getting pretty common, so it may be checked, and yes, it is. Punisher immediately takes him out, and that clears up the A site. Cat Cross is being watched, but some nades will take care of that, and NKL is just going to go inside the smoke and start planting. So Rez and Draken, looks like that is, bit of a botched flash there from Rez, but he's still going to go forth. Catch a flash and slow him down. Draken, meanwhile, with his op over in jungle, and you can see that Orbit have not only planted, but have all got back to very, very good post-plant positions.
Yep, they've got a lot of stuff to clear. I think they know that now. Firebox is most likely empty. Draken's going to be using his molly on Halls, and this means that the defuse is going to have to be stuck here, but there's 2 on A ramp, and they might have to... Wow, he just free-fired that shot, and... Whoa, will he actually manage to get away with the defuse? I don't know. He's on it. No, he's got one more person left. It's a 1v1. Both players run out of ammo, and there's shots being fired by pistols. No kill is coming as a result of it. Now Draken actually finds the off-frag, but goes down. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that was actually so good from Draken, though. He takes a spam shot onto Firebox, and you said it at that point, all right, they kind of know that's clear, so he takes the Molotov over to Palace, so that isolates one player that you expect to be up there in the post plant, and then he just trains that op on the A ramp. He misses that first shot, somehow comes away with that crazy pistol kill, then he's like, all right, my Molotov's gone. He looks back to Palace, and thought for a second there maybe it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then some really sloppy pistol shooting from both players.
Yeah. It did get closer than it was supposed to, right? Yeah. And, like, you know, ultimately Orbit should have sealed that up, and it really just started with Doppelin trying to get too much out of his original push. He made a golden play, and then, you know...
yeah, I mean, they kind of did it twice, right? Because they did it in Palace at the very start of the round, and then Doppelin kind of made the mistake in middle, but Epsilon, they won pretty dominantly in those first 4 rounds, so even after the loss, they have the guns. Draken missing a shot he wishes he hit, because now he's in a very tough spot. Oh, flash. Was that a team flash, actually, on those players of Orbit?
Might have been, yeah.
And he's going to keep going back for these peaks. I think that one did connect, but still no one has gone down, and they've thrown a smoke so that they can fall back. I think that was the smoke of Epsilon.
Well, they'll be happy to know that no one came underpass to flank them, even with that top mid control. So Epsilon maintained it for a little bit. Orbit have already re-aggressed and made their way down in front of Connector. Now, I wonder how Epsilon respond. They're in a position where they want to get info and try to get a trade, but Victor posted up on window, wins the trade with the Opper, with a Galil. And their spy leader, Eat a Flash, has made his way up into window.
Yeah, he takes that flash to the face, but he doesn't panic. He doesn't make any noise. They have no idea that he's worked into this position. Freddie B was kind of looking over towards jungle, but unable to see anything there from Shadow and spamming up, which looked like was right on him. Just not a lot of damage there. So Freddie falls, and then Zealous to kill Victor, who was already low, having taken an op shot earlier in the round. Doppler going to push through aggressively, try to stop Orbit before they can get up to any good positions. And now the bomb has gone down, and it's just 2 players up for Epsilon.
A little bit of impatience there, as I think an opportunity was spotted, but lost. And Doppler went down again, pushing into the site. Now it's a 2v3. CT control and connector control has been taken. Firebox is getting cleared. So much damage has been dealt, handed out. Now it's a 1v1. Bomb planted for A ramp, but not really. I mean, he could actually stick this if he pushed himself a little bit closer to the wall. And I don't know if he comes away with this frag. No, he doesn't. And I guess he had to worry about just getting one tapped in the side. But another 1v1 won, this time by Orbit, something that they didn't have the benefit of experiencing in the first map. Now, they go into this round with just kind of still pretty bad money, right? If you win, you get the same amount of money each round, so every player you lose is tough for you. You don't have a loss bonus that slowly builds up to something that looks like a win bonus. And so Orbit will be very happy to find out that they're going up against pistol players who have managed to find a kill already, but
Starting to get a little worried with Orbit's post plant on the A site, right? They had a, what was it, a 2 versus 3 that was very close, came down to a 1 versus 1, and honestly, they all died. They got saved by just the bomb time going all the way down, and then that was a 2 versus 4 in the last round, and Epsilon with just 2 people and 1 Molotov almost won the round. If he had stuck that bomb initially, which is hard to say, stick it or don't, they would have just had it. So that's crazy. Orbit are going to have to work on that as they move forward on this map, but they will be finding their 3rd round here and likely to keep 4 people alive. Yeah,
you would think that Orbit is a really good team for Mirage because it's such a big map, and that means that on T side you have a lot of options for trying to catch rotators, which is something they do like really, really well. But the sloppy post plants, as you mentioned, Joey, like that's been haunting them. And each of those rounds, right, like both of the 1v1s were situations where you had a man advantage and it came down to the 1v1 when it shouldn't have been that close. And we almost talked about how the CT actually could have won it both those times, so the fact that it does come that close is really bad for them. Now, Epsilon have a 1-round lead over Orbit, who have just picked up their 3rd, and now going to this one with a bye. It's going to be Punisher, though, to only have a UMP to his name.
Yeah, and Epsilon actually, even though they get out to the rifles and Draken has this op, he's glass cannon, and there's a significant lack of utility for the rest of the boys on Epsilon. Draken's got his op over at B. Where Orbit are kind of starting out the round. They got the bomb down there in the back of the halls as they work out. Try to grab middle control, but Doppler is not going to allow that. He will kill Spy Leader. He knows there's another one on that catwalk, so he's trying to reposition. Flash is coming out from Zealous on the window, and just as the smoke goes away, he peeks out and gets a kill before another one blooms, and it's just dominant control of middle there for Epsilon.
And that's like kind of what we saw in the previous rounds, where mid control is getting taken by Epsilon, or they try to aggress in the mid round. They're able to get a kill, but they weren't able to continue the sequence, get 2 or 3, or maintain mid-control for that matter. Orbit would actually sense that once Epsilon tried to go for mid-control or try to get a peek or get a kill, they would just give it up right away and re-aggress off that information. But now we see Epsilon turn a kill into 2, into 3, and then a kill come across on the other side of the map as well. And there's Victor trying to get really aggressive out of the apps, and he does get 1 kill, but looking for a second, can't do it. Doppler with the insane headshot, gets 1 more.
Probably would have found that 3rd if he had any more bullets in that M4A1S, but he runs out, switches to the sidearm, and he knows he's got teammates, so he's going to go for the reload. Now Draken is on the hunt, jumping over to Tetris, looking to clear it with a Tech 9. He finds nothing, but I believe that Draken there got the last kill of the round, so another quick one and a dominant round for Epsilon. And that was Orbit starting to run out of money. They had 2 Tech 9s going into that buy round.
Yeah, insane round from Doppler, who, if you sit at triple, right, you have a lot of options. You can peek A ramp, you can peek connector, you can peek palace, but for each of those spots, you have a relatively weak position, meaning that if you're spotted, you're easily spammable, you have nowhere to run. You can go to the other side and take a fight, but it's obvious because of the sound you made or the fact that you can see a shoulder most of the time when people are jiggle peeking. So for him to get 2 kills there and then get a 3rd kill at the end of the round is enormous. And wow, Draken dropping an underpass off of a flash.
I think he might have thrown that flash himself, too.
And actually staying there is a challenge. Leaving it off at the stairs of a connector and making it a 4v4, bit of a misstep. Now Victor picks up the stop, and we'll see if he can take this and turn it into a kill. That would be a travesty for Epsilon. He really didn't need that second frag.
Yeah, and while Victor's a dangerous player and probably could do crazy things with the op, he will pass it off to Bubble. So we brought that back over and gave it to the team's primary op. So I like to see that. It's an even man situation. Still equipment value much in favor of Epsilon, but here is Bubble to find a kill onto the B site. But knife out. He thinks maybe it's clear. Zelos is able to spray down 2 before Victor answers back with the 1-dig. Now a 2-on-2 situation here on round 10. Bomb is going down, so it's Epsilon having to retake 2 flashes, a Molotov, and kits to their name.
Wow, they might have won that round off the back of that 1-dig. And again, another round that Orbit have gotten very close, and it's not over quite yet. No, actually, far from it. Disco Doplin is able to find a frag. That leaves Victor in a 1v2. He's only got an AK, and he has 2 opponents pushing up on him. He spots one on Cat, but they know where he is, and he can't get the kill because he doesn't have armor. And Doplin on the retake gets both kills. So they do manage to survive. It would have been a round where it would have been like, Draken, why'd you go for that second frag, man? Why'd you do it? But it didn't matter too much.
I still have that question in my mind. Why did he go for it? I guess he thought maybe they were still somewhat blind.
And it wasn't just the second frag, right? It was the fact that he like re-peeked connector to get the second frag.
Yeah. Well, Orbit, get that one maybe closer than it should have been. Ultimately, they lose, but they planted, and that's a big boost to the money. So you can see their buy is in full, but it will be Bubble who doesn't have the op, and we saw how good he was with it. He maybe jumped the gun a bit, right? He got that op kill over at B and then just charged forward with his knife out. And Draken, of course, with his op, and he was very good with that on Dust 2.
Let's see, this has really been a game of mid, and whoever controls it seems to come out ahead, or whoever is able to get that second kill before the other team tends to win. Draken going to be the man of the hour, the one rotating from window to Palace. And Orbit basically waiting for Epsilon to go for top mid control once again late in the round.
Yeah, well, we can see that that's not going to happen. Epsilon are playing very, very reserved here on round 11. So it's going to be Spy Leader, I think, to take this first little peek into middle. Is actually the window smoke missed. That is not a good sign. So they're going to have to waste another smoke. They'll throw that down. Draken will just go take a shot, kind of keep them interested, make them think about that window. And it's Doplin that finds the first kill of the round. Freddie B, we're on the pistol. He got a 4K, is over at Sandwich, and they are playing actually a pretty nice crossfire between him and Doplin. Nice little pop flash out. Does grab the player in Palace. The bullets, though, not connecting, not finding the kill. And a Molotov somewhat missed. Freddie B, the fact that he can get 1 kill from that position is a little insane. Meanwhile, Orbit did find 2 frags, so it's turned into a 3-on-3. Zelos pushed off into jungle behind a wall of smoke, but he either gets a kill through it or decided to push. I don't know. He found a kill, and then there's Rez coming up middle. He takes Spy Leader around to the connector, and it's all Bubble all alone. 1 versus 3.
Unable to do it. Very nice round from Orbit, who kept the pincer move alive. Draken, as you mentioned, it was a really good point that he just had to take an op shot out of window to keep them interested. That caused a distraction for his teammates and allowed him to take a new position while also causing fear in the hearts of terrorists as to whether or not they've got a one-way on their hands, or if, you know, Draken had an angle lined up that he could shoot through. And so that gave his teammates a lot of power. Following up with a rotate into CT and then staying alive was really good as well. You know, A-site is, oh wow.
Oh, what's going on here? Zelos had worked his way all the way around them, but it's Victor that gets 2. Finally, that's his death. That's Draken with the op that will stop him, and I imagine, yeah, from jungle, Punisher tries to punish him with a nade, but it doesn't do all that much. Now Bubble waiting at the connector with the Galil. He finds Doplin, and now Orbit with a man advantage. But the bomb is down in a very bad spot on the A site.
NKL wins this round right here, unless he somehow gets caught off guard, which would be very unlikely, yeah. Just kills Draken on the side, and Rez realizes that B has been compromised at this moment. And if he hasn't been spotted, they won't, oh yeah, they won't maybe try to challenge him. It looks like they do find the kill in spite of that. But NKL with a good push out of halls, and they found the site that was weak, exploited it, caused a disturbance on the big flank, and converted it into a round. And now, Orbit have picked up 1 more round. They've got a Galil in their hands, even though they just won that. They could have bought an AK, decided not to because of the guns they saved.
So 8-4 Epsilon lead and they still can get out another buy round. This time a little bit limited on utility, but not any more so than the round where Draken had the glass cannon op. So they're still very dangerous. And they're set up. They actually do have a player out there in middle, but they see this telegraphed A play coming out from Orbit. And Freddie B, oh my goodness, they think he's under Shadow. Instead, he pushes through to find them. And he gets two. Now the bomb's going down. He knows this. He's trying to spam and stop the planet. It won't happen. And he just misses that player pushing out of the smoke. Spyleader cleans him up. And then Victor to find Draken. So 3-on-3. Zelos with full nades here for the retake. A smoke on Rez and some flashes. So Epsilon are definitely geared up to do this one. They've got the kits as well. And we've seen Orbit, their post-plant positions, the way they've, well, the positions are fine, but the way they've just played it has been a little bit shaky. They'll have to do a good job here to find round number 5. Victor, he's been forced to peek out. He does get that kill. Bubble as well from up top finds one, and that allows Victor to get the second.
Oh man, they completely guffed on the smokes there. The Molotov hit off a wall and didn't explode, and would have exploded on Tetris, which would have allowed us for the peek from A ramp. They missed the smoke and it went too deep, and that's the reason they had to use a Molotov there. Ideally, they throw the smoke at A ramp, right? They block it off completely. They throw a Molotov at Palace, and then they have 2 choke points like secure. They can watch a smoke and a Molotov. Instead, they use all their most important nades on the retake, whiff them, and allow Orbit to peak at the same time from both the choke points that they knew that they were sitting.
Yeah, so not great use there of the utility on what was such an important round, because you can see, you know, only 2 rounds left in the half now, including this one where Epsilon were forced to go on an eco, just P250s and a CZ. Rez doesn't even buy anything. And Orbit will be patient, expecting maybe a stack or perhaps just a crazy sort of death ball push from Epsilon. And we can see a bit of a stack here. Doppler and Freddie B setting up a crossfire at the A ramp. And since A ramp is controlled, you have that third player at a bit of an off angle on those boxes looking into Palace.
It's kind of interesting to see like Epsilon like playing as risky and aggressively as they are sometimes, because it's not like they completely outclass Orbit in any way, right? I mean, playing without respect is sometimes really good, especially if your opponent feels like they're better than you. But like Draken got way too aggressive on that retake, and unless something interesting happens here, I think we'll just talk through it. But yeah, someone comes at Bay ramp, and most of the eco kills have been had. It's a fine round to win versus an eco. Ultimately, Orbit have quite a bit of money at this point, so. Even though they had that clutch, they had a couple of ecos in the past, so they should be pretty good. Zelos finds an AK, immediately runs away with it, realizes that they have a very low chance of winning this round.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. Yeah, because the bomb wasn't even down yet. It finally gets planted just as Rez dies, and it's going to be Zelos playing a bit of hide and seek here.
What I was going to say about like Draken, it was that 4v3 retake, and Draken just like jumped through the smoke, you know, to try to trade, I think, for Freddie, who was under Balk. And I guess in, you know, a valiant effort, and his intent was good, but if he stayed alive and his teammates were in a position to trade to him and he died and then they lost the round, you look back on that frag and think about how important it was. So I feel like Epsilon, like some of the time, maybe they don't trust themselves to retake as much, but they shouldn't, right? Because we were talking about how good the retakes were, how close they were actually pulling off some of their retakes at a man disadvantage. So 4v3 looked like they would almost certainly win, but it's plays like that make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, now either way you look at it, this half is going to be quite close from what he was looking to be pretty dominant from Epsilon. Could be the 8-7 as Orbit are continuing to fight back. Bubble and NKL each getting kills, but it's Doppler once again aggressive at the top of mid, gets the kill onto NKL, and now that's man advantage here for the CT side, but they have given up A, so the bomb is going down once more. 2 smokes, 2 flashes. Maybe they could smoke off those choke points a little bit better as they go for the retake again.
A little bit of utility in the hands of Punisher, who has a Molotov. He's going to be working his way into halls. Could get away with throwing this down, but oh, the smoke comes out early. That's going to allow to cover for the defuse. One on A ramp as well, and that's a nice one from TT. Always like to see set smokes on the retake, and here it is, Doppler to get the first frag. The second player is spotted, and he's looking for the first kill, but no, can't do it. Zelos manages to save his teammate, and they come away with the 9-6 half. Quite solid overall. I'd say that there were some rounds that Epsilon could have definitely secured in spite of the fact that they've won most of the rounds here. I think the same could be said for Orbit. We're still seeing some of the mess that we saw from Dust 2, you know, in the whiffs, but we also see some greater individual plays. Like Freddie was super good at A, right? He was getting a couple of kills around. He managed to stay alive. Even on that one, the only reason he died is because he pulled that smoke out, but he had that 4K on the pistol that was super hot.
That was massive.
So, yeah, a little bit better individually. overall.
Where is Freddy? He's at 13 kills. You can see Zelos up there at 16 and Doppelin at 15. So more or less a team effort. Rez and Draken a little further down. Draken wasn't able to do all that much with the op. He was often smoked out of middle and then smoked out of jungle. So they did a good job limiting the potential of his op, that is Orbit. And then a couple close rounds at that key round, that botched retake from Epsilon, where, yeah, maybe they weren't supposed to win it, but if they did, it would have been a...
But they got to the point where they should have, right?
Yeah, they got to the point where they should have won it, and that would have been, you know, a monster half at that point. That would have broken the economy once more of Orbit, and we could have been looking at, you know, 10-plus rounds for Epsilon. Instead, it is the 9-6.
Yeah, no, definitely. There could have been the 12-3, which is one of those rounds, like a 2-for-1 if it could have happened like that, but instead, Orbit coming with the clutch.
And here is Victor, once again going to be tested on a pistol round. Standing at the back of the site, Punisher will find the first kill. Victor just looking to stay alive right now, trying to just keep backpedaling, keep the distance between him and those Glocks, and let his teammates do the work as they rotate over. Bubble gets one, Punisher finds one more, and Victor, you know, he goes down without a kill, but he did exactly what he was supposed to. He stayed alive the whole time, and his teammates come in to save the day.
No, Victor played that perfectly. That's exactly what you want to do. Like, yeah, you can miss some shots, but if you're the person on B, the solo guy on B, the only person that can stop the plant, you have to stay alive. And he did a really good job maneuvering to the two back pillars. In fact, backpedaling at the perfect moments as players jumped out of halls and then came around the first one. He was over to the second. As they came around the second, he was over to the third, right? And so in sequence, it was perfect, his timing on that play.
And it will be a lot of deagles into this round for Epsilon. I mean, Mirage is a map with a lot of long sight lines, so they'll try to hunt for these 1-deags. Not finding anything quite yet, but still plenty of time to work with, and they'll just wait out a couple of the remaining smokes from Orbit. You can see Zelos, that A ramp one disappears, so he's working on this battle. That player in CT, always got to be a little scared of those deagles, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you want to win that fight versus deagle, but you just don't want to get 1-deagged, and you have to make the decision, like, is this guy gonna keep whiffing, or am I gonna die? And I don't know if I want to risk that, but both people living.
While Punisher decides to peek off Cat, he'll be finding some free kills. I think it might have been Doppelin that was on Catwalk that got that. Rez with the CZ brings down Spy Leader, so we've gone 2 for 2. So teams at even strength, still Orbit with the better weapons. However, the bomb being armed up, and Rez holding the angle at CT, so this player can do nothing about the bomb going down, and he actually falls. NKL without a response goes down, and it's Victor coming around the corner with this MP9, running out of bullets. He goes down. It's Rez and Draken now, who is still alive, 3 HP, but man advantage for Epsilon, and they planted the bomb. Punisher starting to take some damage. These body shots from the deagle distract him enough, and Rez will finish him off.
Oh, wow, well played. They actually pull off the eco, and this is map 2. That was the first pistol round that Orbit were able to win, and what happens right after, it gets converted. That's a horrible place to be in mentally, and we can see the disappointed faces of each teammate here, as I think they all contributed to the loss on that one. Epsilon reached double digits on map 2, are 6 away from actually just making this a 2-0 after winning their map pick, and look quite strong. Have earned themselves a double save as well. That's the value in winning the eco.
All right, and Epsilon trying to turn up the heat and just go very, very quickly. They actually gave up that first kill out of A ramp. They have earned their way back into it. Freddie B took one off of the platform. And Freddie B actually behind Firebox will go down. So man advantage right now for Orbit. Bomb has not been planted yet. It's down on the site. So Epsilon are just going to be patient. Draken now with his flash is going to try to clear out jungle. As we actually have 2 players for Orbit hiding out at CT spawn and 1 working on the big flank. That's going to be Bubble. Running now, but yeah, we're going to start having to walk pretty soon because he doesn't exactly know where these Epsilon players are.
Bomb has been recovered, and it looks like the pan is coming out triple, but we already have a man walking up A ramp. Bubble might actually be able to stop this. No, doesn't quite do. Did the bomb actually get planted? Yeah, it did, and now it's a 1v3 retake.
The bomb did go down. Draken, oh, he's got so many players to fight. And he goes to, you know, he's trying to get away from that angle, trying to hide, but that 5-7, I think it was, will catch him in the face. So that was a force buy from Orbit, who are extremely desperate, likely going to have to be going on a double eco. and win the round.
There's the big value in staying alive, right? We had CT control maintained with a crossfire that's basically impossible to deal with. If you want to get the bomb back from the site, you have to pick it up and hope that you can get someone to peek off of a fake plant, or you have to hope that no one's in jungle or no one's in connector and plant for there, right? And then you still have to worry about your A-ramp flank and your Palace flank if you took too long to recover the bomb, and that's what we saw from Orbit, taking advantage of that, having a big rotate come out, bubble coming up A-ramp, and making it a 1v3 for his opposition.
And now Epsilon will put a little bit into the round. Everyone, of course, going for the pistols. A couple players with armor and a couple with nades. It looks like it's an effort to just get this play onto the A site, get that bomb down. The smokes are going to go down across the site, so a bit of a wall there. They'll push through the smokes and battle the player at CT. NKL was that player. He only gets 1 kill before going down, so the bomb is going to be planted straight away as Epsilon are now starting to get picked apart. It's Spy Leader, Punisher, and Punisher again. He finds 2. Freddy B waiting and still making it costly. He'll bring down Victor. Not expecting a second player in CT, though. That's Bubble, who secures the round.
Yeah, not anticipating that with thought he had a choke point to himself, had to take a risk. You know, you have the 1v3 situation. You've got to push for information and try to make it a 1v1 as soon as possible. But if they don't give you that extra frag, you have to have map control. That's the other response. And recognizing that, pushing back into CT and getting caught off guard means that Orbit actually, after converting back, right, winning the pistol, losing the eco, winning an eco of their own, or force-ups, as you could call them, have clawed their way back into it. But Epsilon, because they're on T side, have managed to surmise a buy earlier than I think anticipated. Now Draken off the corner of the smoke might actually
that's an angle right there.
Yeah, might find an opponent, but no, Bubbles moved away.
Wanting to go for the peak. And was that Zelos taking damage? He was jumping for some information right there. Got maybe dinked through the ledge, or who knows what. Took some shots. He's down to 30 HP. But look at Doblin. He gets into the ladder room, completely unknown, and Punisher will be the first casualty on the round. Man advantage to Epsilon, as, well, it wasn't actually Spy Leader that got that. It's Bubble, I think from Window, who hits the shot to the player on the catwalk there.
So the last aggressive spot that you have on mid, right, is that you can play by yourself is ladder room, right? And when T's take mid and you're in ladder room, you can kind of stay there and you still have a good opportunity to get the kill, unless you get shot in the back like what happened with Epsilon. So they played mid control into taking ladder room control and played that perfectly, got that frag, and now we're 4v4 coming up A-ramp.
Oh, MKL in this good spot here, the off angle in front of Ticket just a little bit, only finding the 1 kill. It's Draken actually with a scout headshot that will eliminate him. So 3-on-3 right now. Bomb trying to be planted. I'm not sure exactly what smoked off, but Orbit do have a player in the connector, and I believe that was Spy Leader who got the kill. And yeah, now Victor from CT, he brings down Zelos, and it's Freddy B all alone in a 1 versus 3. Try to do a little bit more damage here. Getting a bomb plant would be nice, but it doesn't seem that possible. He starts to arm it up. And okay, the player in connector did not push up fast enough. I kind of like that though. Don't let him turn it into a 1v2. Just let him plant and retake together. Spy Leader actually had no idea where Freddy B may have gone off to, but Bubble secures the round.
Yeah, quite a close round, but it's, I want to say E-Break. Orbit to take a man advantage, turn it into a really good round from them. Overall successful rifle, and so far are starting to get their feet back on the ground, right? A lot is to be known about their CT side, but we know that this is their map pick and that they're comfortable on it. Great thing for them on T side was the amount of options you have, but as a CT, you also have a lot of options, right? You have a lot of pushes that you can make, and that's kind of what we talked about with Orbit, that maybe their problem was they weren't pushing aggressively for information or trusting themselves to do it most of the time, and then just kind of like waiting for pushes and then getting caught off guard. It's always a mystery to find out what a team is bad on T side.
Wow, I was surprised that nade was so ineffective. Looked like it was going to do critical damage to 3 players. It's Bubble and NKL that bring down a couple, but all in all, it's 3 for 3. The bomb's going to go down, and it's 2v2. Epsilon is still in a bit of a tight spot, and yeah, the nade going in. Freddy B was so low. You know you're not going to survive in Firebox, but he really didn't have a choice. And now it's all on Zelos, who has a CZ. He might not even have that much ammunition. Yeah, he's going to start that defuse. Smoke is going to go down, and he tries to get out there to stop it. The Punisher will grab him.
Yeah, barreling out Palace, but to no avail. Although the bomb was planted, 3 people got killed. It came down to a really close round. I think overall, very nice round from Orbit. The fact that, or very nice round from Epsilon, excuse me. The fact that Orbit were able to win it is great for them. It's It's one step closer to getting a map too after having a lackluster first half, after losing the second round following the pistol.
I'm surprised that the first shot even missed. Bubba will miss the second. Now trying to just go through that box with his op. They know that a player's got their up behind there. They're trying to toss in some nades. There's one and a flash to underpass as Bubble's just gonna smoke and try to move that position.
Where did our man at top mid actually go? Did he run back up cat? It looks like he has had escaped. I thought he had pushed all the way through, but Orbit just did a really good job of controlling mid right there, doing so much damage to Doplin, getting the first kill on Draken as well, and committing 3 people there. So would have left a man stranding if like the guy in window died, for example. So it's really important that they kept all players alive, and they did do that. They did take a little bit of damage on Punisher, but it doesn't seem like it'll affect them too much.
Yeah, Doplin took near critical damage as well. He's down to 4 HP, and he has actually picked up the op that Draken dropped. So he'll see what he can't do with that. And Victor playing this angle. You know, hard to get kills from here, but you get the information fast, and of course I say that. He gets the first kill, and the second. They just keep challenging this, and Spy Leader to find the third, so no one granted access crossing the windows into the B site.
Yep. And now we have to see what Epsilon are going to do in response. They've not been able to have a great T-half so far, the couple of rounds that they've played. There wasn't much to be said about them. They just lost mid control, which is a T-sided affair in general. Maybe if they anticipate that to come out again, and here is actually a pause to come out. I think a great time to do it. They've got to figure out what's their option. They actually have a lot of options left. Like a lot of times when teams take a pause, it's when they've lost many rounds in a row, right? They've exhausted all their strategies, and some of the rounds came close, but they didn't close it out. And so they maybe talk about the late round on those, or what adjustments they could make early on for a new round. But if you've tried everything, that's really tough, right? Because you got to go back to an option that didn't work and figure out how to do it better. Here, Epsilon have the opportunity to reinvent themselves and pick an option that they haven't tried yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if trying to go slowly to mid again is one of them, because they lost mid there versus a player that Orbit decided to kind of sacrifice, go on a suicide run and run up the wall, but he had support from his teammates. But if that player gets a little bit too aggressive and they play like really passive mid, just like Orbit were doing to them, and then come up to re-aggress, they might be able to catch that person off guard. They just kind of have to decide, are Orbit going to try to commit to a fast mid or a really aggressive mid? And if that'll be effective. If that's the play, for example, you'd have Epsilon almost certainly send someone underpass, right? And then send 2 people top mid, wait for the push, and as soon as contact is made top mid, underpass guy can come out and try to catch that guy rotating back or committing to boxes or, you know, fighting his opponents. But that's what makes mid T-side in the first place. So the fact that they lost it is a great sign for Orbit.
Yeah, and the money here for Epsilon as well. They had an op in the last round. I think it was one of the first times we've seen Draken pull out the op on the T side, rendered basically ineffective. They won't be able to afford it again here. The money was actually low on a couple players.
Tactical.
Oh.
Tactical, of course.
Yeah, there you go. He had to get back in time because that time I was running out. I like it. I like the hustle. You don't often get to say that in Counter-Strike, right? That's good hustle.
So many parallels to real sports. I'm so glad that
was on camera. Yeah. Imagine he went down and injured, twisted that ankle playing CS. Injury, put him on IR, which is like a term now. We got Olaf out. Guardian was hurt for a bit.
Yeah, true.
Freeze, the leg. This is crazy. Even the casters are going down. Anders, of course, having some trouble.
My leg?
But here we go. Deagle on the Draken, and Spy Leader nearly, oh, he does find 2. That was nearly a third. Freddie B will put him down finally, but that might just be the damage done in this round for Orbit, as they got a 4-on-3.
Yeah, they got away with it again. They got away with that mid push, the aggression, it pays off. They've even got pallet control, which means this bomb plant means almost nothing. Like, best retake spot on the map, CT control and jungle control. One person in connector from Epsilon, he has a good opportunity to catch rotators, but he's got to really put in work right now. And he only has a deagle.
Yeah, he only has a deagle, so it could just come down to that with that one-shot accuracy for him. He's going to have to push through smoke. Freddie B somehow still going to get done, and coming through the smoke, it does get that first kill. And actually, the bomb did go down on this round, so there's some more money as the bonus continues to build. I think Orbit, or Epsilon rather, can stay dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bomb did get planted, but it was like, you know, you could see with Palace control, it doesn't matter if the bomb's planted. Like, if someone pushes Palace and a bunch of terrorists come up A ramp to plant the bomb, and they don't have any sight on Palace or anyone there to play after plant, like, it's over. I'm sorry. Almost certainly one person dies. That Palace person has like a great opportunity to stay alive. Like, by far the best position to be in a CT. as a CT if the bomb goes down.
All right, so another round here for Epsilon where they have the rifles. The op actually comes out on Draken, but it is glass cannon, and this is maybe that one more chance that they have after that pause to try to get out to using the power of the pause to see if that will have been effective in round at 24. And they do go for mid control, right? Epsilon have it, and already working into connector with one player pushing up on cat. Look how far Rez has got through. That's the first kill onto Bubble.
Wow, look how many rotates. I mean, they've got the 3-1-1, which is perfect. Punisher, though, from the back of the site is putting in work, gets traded out 1-for-1, favoring Epsilon for sure. And here is Rez to get another kill. So insane hard lurk from him to come up into jungle, get that first kill, and make it a sequence, stay alive, and look for a third. He gets a third. It hasn't even taken any damage yet. This guy's a beast.
God Rez.
God Rez.
Oh, what Rez does
What's
Rez
his Rez?
play on? Yeah, exactly. Easy jokes. But that's crazy to think that I think from what we saw, the first contact of the round actually happened in jungle.
Yeah. So it was a cool strategy from Epsilon, and it seems like they have some tricks up their book. They had the jungle smoke and stair smoke come out, and Rez just barreled down mid, go up connector, and look for a lurk frag as soon as possible, and it was given to him. Funny thing is, if that was just a connector split, that would have worked just as well.
Yeah.
Him getting that kill was the most important part.
And now Orbit, they will put a bit of a focus here on Cat. You can see they've got one on Cat, put one into the ladder room here, and another on Window, who actually is going to get Molotov'd back a little bit. That was Rez throwing that from underneath, and Draken with the op here on the T side, getting it done, finding the opening pick. And the smokes are going down. I like that smoke is actually thrown from connector. That's pretty funny. And then Zelos finding Punisher, Rez spinning, but can't find Spy Leader, and it's Zelos up in the window that will also fall. Bubble with the op, so 3-on-3 right now, and really no ground gained for Epsilon, right? They got some kills, but they didn't get really any map control from it. I mean, mid a little bit.
Yeah, they do have mid, but I completely agree with you. They don't have much to show for it. Now they have to work on a brand new split. It felt like a breath of life has come to...
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know if that's going to make it over triple.
It's no good. 2 people in CT now, and they have to secure a choke point here. It looks like Freddy's going to have the opportunity to get a frag. He does. The one at B, I don't know if this is actually going to cause them to move. Ultimately, they have connector control, but they don't know it. And it's really on Orbit to decide whether or not they want to rotate. And it looks like they're going to do it together. Bomb is also pushing back to B, though, however.
Well, Freddy B is going to hear this now, those footsteps coming from CT, and he's definitely going to win the first battle.
The bomb is still going B right now. Now, Disco has the opportunity to flank, but this only puts the round in jeopardy. I wonder if he's able to stop the plant here.
Oh, he heard the player behind him. Bubble, if he can get that kill. Oh,
wow.
The way that works out, man.
What a strange round.
You can't account for that. He hears the footsteps of the player in market, looks that way, and then gets shot by the guy that was carrying the bomb coming out of B apartments.
Super strange round. No, that was Draken right in the window, as you mentioned, to hear 2 players crossing. Like, he heard both of those players crossing. So he should have definitely called for the bomb to go back. Like, it was weird that he continued on.
It was Freddy, I think.
It was Freddy? Okay.
Yeah.
That was really strange. But, Doppelin kind of secures that by pushing in behind him. Makes it weird. But either way, Epsilon, looking like a brand new team, catching a second wind and going really hard on that round on those entries. And the last 2, mind you, have earned themselves an eco even.
Oh, Zelos.
Oh, God.
Had a nade out, and look at this push up mid. It's relentless from Orbit. They get 2 kills. Now they get an AK, and it's the rest of Epsilon. Just 3 players up that have to grind their way back into this round. It looks like they've done it somewhat as they've got it into a 3-on-3. And yes, as Launders was very alarmed that the bomb was kind of in danger, but Rez will get it and take that long trek through spawn and back over to A.
Yeah, it seemed like Rez was challenging a little bit and then realized he had the bomb or something, but manages to get away. Draken whiffing a little bit of an easy shot into CT, falling off of that position, having Freddy to support him. So this bomb's planted for CT to basically just watch your back for a bit, try to get that person who wants to rotate through CT, and then focus your attention on the other choke points once you have that info.
They're actually, okay, there's Draken getting 1 shot, but there's only 1 player on the site. I suppose Freddy B pushed through CT, and he's got the jungle. They were in kind of danger of just getting smoked off, but Rez will win the battle on site, and Freddy B on the lurk to get that last kill. And that round maybe closer than it should have been. Some missed shots, and some people just caught off guard there for Epsilon out in mid, but it was ultimately an eco there for Orbit, and now we have tied up 13-13.
Yeah, no, great recovery overall, and even though it did come down to the 3v5 really, really fast off of those 2 opening frags at mid, which I think were just unforgivable whiffs on the part of Epsilon. make the most of it and keep 3 alive by the end of the round. So looked really good for a moment, but didn't turn out that well. And Draken actually has to watch his back. Wow, B-Apps is pushed, and that was a sick push from Orbit to meet the player underpass with two who decided to try to catch someone in the back, and it works out. The bomb is down now. 2 players come up A ramp to look for a frag, but this sandwich player, that's NKL, is able to find a trade.
That was funny.
Doplin goes ahead and evens up.
I'm glad we got the kill from the perspective of that player underneath. Just perfectly grabbing him in the air, and even landed dead on the other side. Everything about that, perfect. And Spy Leader, his position, perfect. Having this bomb down and just in his sight for so long. Epsilon have what? They can throw a flash at him to maybe push him off the angle, but it'll be hard to pick up this bomb.
Yeah, I mean they can do that. They can even use the Molotov to push him off if they wanted to. It's not going to be an easy one, but there's a flash, a really good one actually, and they recover the bomb. So the thing is that Spy Leader was in such a position that he was probably like, I have this for sure. Like, if anyone comes near me, I'm almost certainly going to get a frag. That, or they're just not going to be able to recover the bomb without me knowing. But they literally don't know whether or not the bomb's been recovered. They just have to wait because he's not going to repeat that same angle.
And they're still going to go into this. Spy Leader did not move at all. Okay, he moved a little bit, but he's still holding the angle, and he will hit the shot onto the second player. Able to scope once more and lands it onto Zelos. So great play there by Spy Leader as he finally is tested. He gets both shots.
Yeah, that was really beast from Spy Leader. And I think what's funny, what's ironic actually, was they had the right idea. They heard the op, and they were like, let me just wide peek. And I'm not going to give him the credit and say that he was fast enough to hit that shot. He was pretty much shooting at the first guy, yeah. And so his teammate died for it, but it does work out. And Epsilon now only have 13 rounds. They're on not a great buy. Bomb is staged up top mid. And Orbiter in a straight up 2-1-2 with Bubble trying to lock down this angle at mid.
And Bubble, yeah, he hears the smoke bounce again. He's just already willing to give it up. He knows what was about to happen. Zelos, though, has moved up very, very far. And he's been spotted, so Punisher, he starts to run, which was maybe a little too early. He almost got turned on. But instead, he does come away with the first kill of the round. Now it'll be Rez to work his magic from underpass. We have seen him work off cat, work in underpass pretty well a couple rounds. Epsilon will certainly need him to come up big here. Try to keep Orbit off of match point.
Yep. Mid control extremely valuable here right now as pressure is being put up from a ramp. And oh, is any damage
landed.
dealt? No.
Yeah, right? Oh no, Punisher was already low.
Wow, nice shots from Freddy. Huge frags, the 2K. And now it's a 3v3 after plant. Bubble. Oh, will be hard pressed to find a player crossing or not. I don't know. Oh, takes the shot though, gives away his position, and he's not going to be met with a repeak, excuse me. Doplin getting a kill, and now it's 2v2.
Yeah, so Victor and Spawn, he just got a kill, so they know where he is. He's going to try to flash over. Bomb's been planted, and they know that Epsilon have got off to at least a ramp. Will they expect someone to connect her? Yes, that player's been seen. That's Rez as well, who gets the kill onto Victor. Now it's all on the Bubble. He'll use his one flash to flash himself, more or less, as he caught that default box. A little unfortunate for him. He'll tap the bomb, but it's Draken that will tap that off.
No, we need to look at the money as soon as possible because that was a round that, first of all, fantastic by Freddy, right, to get those 2 opening frags. That was an insane play from him. But now it's 14-14, and Epsilon had 2 alive on that round. Therefore, have a much better buy here. They have the opportunity to just win the game straight up because Orbit have decided to go all in. They have armored up. They don't like the fact that they lost. They're not going to eat that loss. They're not going to take the L and save. Instead, they know they're going to have a bad buy next round if they do, and have decided to get whatever rifles they can.
Oh, Freddy has not seen them. He maybe heard a footstep, but they have dodged the angle he was holding. Well, actually, if they decide to push, we'll be able to peek very, very close.
This is such a precarious situation because on the one hand, like, he gets some information, he cuts off an angle, but on the other, he's kind of left stranded, right? Like, if he dies here, a gun goes down, Palace is taken, it's 5v4. Oh, now he has a teammate. I like this much better.
And this is a massive round for Orbit. You can see that they forced up and their money is not great. They've got those 2 rifles with some pistols and armor in the round as well. And as the teammate comes back, both Doplin and a Freddy be working together to get that kill. Freddy is left pretty low, but it's 5-on-4 now as Epsilon might get out to match point first.
Yeah, now this is just going to entice Orbit to try to push again for more information. Like, it's really up to them to try to make a play here. Again, if they play standard, it's not going to work. But they've basically pushed, I think, it looks like Epsilon into the rifle at B, so that's a little bit of a disadvantage. The mollies come out, they're clearing everything really well. Great flash, and that's going to push Punisher into the back of the site, but he's going to have the opportunity to get 2 or 3 kills here, and they all go down, and now it's a 2v3 situation. Freddie B leaves to look for a frag, but he's in such a tough spot. There's 2 people at the back of the site he doesn't even know about.
Yeah, they're never going to clear the second person over at bench. And Freddie B will have to make noise to drop, so they're going to realize that. Flash to go out, and Draken is still around the map somewhere trying to help him out. He's pushing up, misses the shot at the player bench, does spot one coming through the window, but he misses that too. And Punisher coming up massive there. He's Molotoved off the from back van. He's playing on the barrel though. He gets flashed, falls back, and he just puts them into the blender. And you can see there, they're not very happy about that over on Epsilon.
Got the salt cam going on. That is rough. That is rough. They had the 5v4. They had the great flashes, Molotovs on a B. Like, it was just an overall good take, and then they jump out of the window and no one looks at their back. Like, no one checks fence, and they didn't even kill, like, the level or the first part of that defense, right? Like, there was another player at bench just to trade him out when he got 1 or 2 frags, and he ends up getting 3 and stays alive.
And that was a massive round. If Epsilon converted that one, it pretty much broke Orbit and guaranteed Mirage map 2 for Epsilon. Instead, it's Orbit at match point right now with a much better buy here in around 30. Still somewhat of a chance for Epsilon. They've got some utility in these pistols, which may find the first kill. NKL got dinked, but he stays alive. Freddie B, meanwhile, another entry for him onto the A site. And Rez coming up connector. They've got, oh, that's blind! Freddie B with the drive-by. Tech 9 onto NKL, who's under the porch. And now they've got a 4-on-2. AK's picked up. Bomb going down. Here's Punisher moving up CT spawn. Fire keeping him at bay for a little bit.
Oh, God.
And he just can't hit these shots, man. Doplin will find him that extra mobility on the Tech 9, and somehow Epsilon are going to be taking this into OT unless Victor can 1v4. He is so blinded. He will go down. That's OT on map 2.
Wow, they actually bring it to OT. Back-to-back force-ups that result in round wins from each team. And now they're going to have to duke it out outside of regulation. Wow, unbelievable. 30-round game. So back and forth. A little bit cleaner than Dust 2, like some better rounds, like players just playing really well. It seems like they're more warmed up here. So that's nice, and it might be interesting to see a map 3 for that reason. But at the same time, I think Epsilon had a lot going for them on their T side. We'll move into the first half of OT on T side, right?
Yep.
So they kind of have the opportunity to do what they know best, or have done most recently, and have won most of the rounds on their T side leading up to it, right?
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. I probably should ask some of the players, or maybe we can after this best of 3, how that feels to, like, all right, we just played on the T side and now we get to do it again going straight into OT, or vice versa on the CT side.
It depends really if the half was good, right? Whether or not it feels good. Because if it wasn't, then you're like, oh, wow, I don't even have time to think about what to do next. Like, I've got to go into OT that I just barely earned when, you know, I had a huge lead on CT side and just basically blew it, and that's the only reason I'm here in the first place. So I think for Epsilon, it's nice. Switching sides is always nice, but if you just had a stellar T side, stellar CT side, moving into OT on the same side, it can be, I think, beneficial to you.
Yeah, and it was actually the CTs each time they got 9 rounds. And we can see Orbit. They have got that first kill. NKL's brought down Disco Doplin. Bubble's taken some damage, but he is still alive. And a long-range spray down. Freddie B gets NKL, and it's Rez once more. He's been so good at connector and lower middle. He gets Spine Leader, but Bubble moves in to clean it up. 3-on-3 right now. And the bomb's gone down, so you got to call it in favor of Epsilon.
Definitely. CT smoke is fresh, though. Just plumed, and there's 2 people on the other side of it. Freddie B, been a monster so far, is in the first contact position. We'll probably have to get a kill to defend here.
I'm surprised no one actually moved over to Palace. 2 people so far down on A ramp. It's Draken that gets 1 jumping over stairs. I think that was Punisher that went down. So now Draken's got it. Whoa, those hops from Draken. He gets out, but he doesn't land the shot. That would have been a highlight for real.
What the? He went so high and far. Like, what the heck? What? That was, I don't know, that was an insane hop. I don't know how he went that far off of that second one, but that was ridiculous. Either way, he was probably so surprised at the speed he was moving at.
Yeah, I think he might have caught himself. He hit that perfect B hop.
I don't even want to, like, there's so much to talk about in that round, and I'm just, like, so concerned with that. Can we get a replay?
I'm sure maybe we can, but now it's into round 2 here. As Orbit will take that first one, so they've got 16 right now. Still full buys for both teams. Don't really have to worry about money in OT unless you lose 2 in a row. and it's a Bubble to find that first kill. That's the sniper duel, right? I don't think Draken was really even fighting back, but it's the op from Epsilon that goes down. It may be up to Freddy B and Rez one more time. They've been so good working these entries onto this A site, and here they are again. They haven't killed anyone, but they've got a lot of control of the site. Smokes down at all the choke points, bomb being planted as well.
Yeah, one player, Rez, kind of low on HP though. Freddy makes it a little bit easier on him, alleviates some of the pressure, and the good flash gets Doppelin into CT and a frag. Now 3v3, health advantage to Orbit.
Cello's shot, so they might know that he's down here, and actually Victor will just kill him straight away. He also, no, that's Punisher that gets the kill to the player at Tetris, but Victor finding 2 and securing that one. So now 17 to 15 in favor of Orbit.
Yeah, another after plant that came so close. Now the kills come out, the bomb goes down. There's some type of economic. What is that B-hop?
So high.
That is the most absurd B-hop I've ever seen. Off of the stairs.
Here it is.
He's clearly,
dude. Yeah.
Oh, it was there was a second one in there. He hit his crouch.
Okay.
That's what it was. Okay, still amazing, but at first it looked like he was changing server settings or something.
Yeah, he had jumped again right when he met up with the level ground there at the top of the stairs. As Bubble, first shot once more, and the second. He finds 2. And with that, the hopes here of Epsilon's T half in overtime kind of crushed. And they've won A every single round as well.
Yeah, I mean, and they should have won those rounds too. They got the bomb down, they had the man advantage in the after plant, and just lost. So no surprises there. I think, like, you know, the one awful round they had was the first of the 4 set. Oh wow, actually the 2v3 now. It looks like they could actually come back into this, and no, at the end of the day, it's Orbit to seal it up to 3-0 coming into OT. So unfortunately for them, having to play OT after losing versus the 4 set, but then coming into OT and finishing there off their CT half strong. And I'm sure they weren't looking forward to it, considering they had such a good start to begin with.
Yeah, got to give some credit. Even though his team loses every round there in overtime, Rez was so good working over at middle and connector. I think he got a kill or more on every single round there of OT, but they still just weren't able to survive out through any of those post-plant late round situations.
Yep, and this is we're still last round of the half, right? No, we had the 3-0. Epsilon move into CT side and have to come back, win 3 in a row just to stay in this, just to bring it to another OT. So right now is a huge advantage for Orbit. They've got to seal up 1 T round. This is the half they know best, the side they know best on their map pick.
Yeah, definitely the side that they are known for. And they will go for all AKs straight away. You can see that Epsilon, they have gone aggressive off the catwalk here with Draken. They had a player supporting him over in the connector, but it's not being tested yet. Orbit are being extremely patient, just waiting for, I mean, there was honestly so much aggression from Epsilon in regulation on their CT side. So it makes sense that Orbit are playing this one slow.
Definitely.
And is the smoke going to go down? There isn't one here, so Draken hits the first shot, able to spot one more, and won't keep going for the repeaks. Oh, there was actually a smoke drop, but he was in front of it already. And he does just keep on peeking. I'm not sure why.
He's a chronic repeaker. That Draken has definitely costed Epsilon rounds in the past.
I mean, he was the last man left over at mid, so maybe he just really, really felt he needed to get the information, but going for the repeak, honestly, a bad idea.
5v4. He could have just cut an angle off, like, just stayed alive. Like, if Epsilon lose this, like, you look back to that frag. You don't want to be that person to have to think about that, but that really is the case.
Here is the bomb going down. No smokes to isolate any of these players at CT, but it's Victor to get another one on it to Rez. So 2 kills on the round for him. Doppelin starting to move forward. You can see one player on Orbit still out in middle, watching window and able to help out. But these flicks from Doppelin, he gets one up the palace to find Bubble. And now we've got a 2-on-2. We will tap the bomb. They still have to find out where Punisher is. The flash has gone over from middle, but it's Punisher. They found him. He was over at ramp, but he sprayed them both down.
Yeah, for a moment there, Doppelin was like, welcome to FPL, and then just got taken down. And another after plant situation going the way of Orbit, who pick up the second map after being very close to just getting eliminated straight up. But now we move into train, and Epsilon won Dust 2, and maybe should have won Mirage, but didn't. So what this means for me is that Epsilon have a really good advantage, right? They play it a lot. They're very comfortable on Train. I don't know so much about how much Orbit want to play it or how happy they will be to see it.
Well, I think what was said on the desk earlier still stands. Anything can happen in this, right? We saw 29 rounds on Dust 2, right? It was 16-13 in favor of Epsilon. Some crazy force buying shenanigans trading some rounds out at the end of that map. Should have been a lot cleaner, I think, for Epsilon. And then the same thing happened on Mirage. Like, it should have actually been closed out by Epsilon, but instead they lost to a force buy. So some crazy stuff happening. Train, I can't see it being any less than like 25 rounds. Probably goes maybe the full regulation again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, nothing's going according to the plan for each team anyway, so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you're on paper you're good at this map, you know, maybe you like this matchup, but ultimately you're not playing well in general, right? You're not playing good CS overall. So we could definitely see a situation where rounds that shouldn't be won will be won, rounds that shouldn't be lost will be lost, and it be an exciting close series, and that all just come to fruition on Train. I definitely agree it'll be close.
So Mirage, the pick of Orbit, it goes their way. The series tied at 1-1. Map 3 is Train. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. We're going to take a quick break, but make sure to stay tuned.